They say variety is the spice of life, and that's absolutely true for me. That's exactly what keeps this shop fresh and in motion. My friend Ryan's stopping by, and it sounds like he might have an interesting project. Hey, hey.
Hey, Ian, what's up, man?
You made it out here.
I did.
Welcome to the Wild West, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good. I know you got some stuff to show me. What did you bring?
Well, I need some advice. Basically, what I'm trying to do is like a vintage, almost recreation of an early 1900s board track racer.
Okay, yeah, like the first motorcycles when they raced them.
Exactly, when they were slapping engines into bike frames and the thing still had pedals. Cool. This is kind of what I'm after.
Heck yeah, that's right on. Yeah, they were literally, look, there's pedals on that as if it was a bicycle. Yeah, that's cool for sure.
And that's back when Harley and Davidson were still making those things in a shed out in the backyard.
Looking at this picture, it's something I recognize. I've always thought that these board track racers were super cool. Oh, I'm totally feeling you on this. It's like, it's danger on wheels. I'm all about that.
I mean, these guys were nuts. Full pedals, I mean, no brakes. They would go around these wooden plank tracks.
Yeah, like you're saying, no brakes. I mean, he's got like a piece of rug or something that he lays on the gas tank. They really do look like a hand-built contraption. You know, it's highly experimental, very risky, right up my alley.
The fact that it was so stripped down, almost garage built, that's really what I'm after with modern parts and conveniences. Like disc brakes would be a plus. It would be nice to be able to stop at some point.
Yes, I understand that. Every good project starts with a pile of parts and a dream. So here we go. Oh, this is cool.
We got seats.
That's up the flavor right there.
Disc brakes. This is a pretty sweet steel gas tank.
Yeah. Wow, is this stainless? Because it almost seems like it's stainless.
It might be, yeah.
This is cool. That's the flavor right there.
Motor as well.
Well, that's new school.
Right.
That's no old-fashioned engine.
Fully automatic, 4-stroke. Basically, it's a glorified lawnmower engine.
Sure. This is a really cool collection of parts. I mean, it's definitely a great start. I'm just wondering, you know, where's the catch? What do you got for the frame?
All right, so this is maybe where the problem lies.
Why does every client have a problem? What's going on under here? Well, there's your problem right there.
Nice steel beach cruiser.
For sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. There has not been any project that started easy. You know, there's always that one, but except for that moment.
At one point, it was actually motorized. I used to do 50 miles a day on this thing when I was commuting to work in Boston.
Oh, wow. I get what you're saying. So you had your little toy, and now you want to take it further.
Exactly.
I mean, it's typical hot rod formula. You want to shove the biggest engine into the lightest chassis possible.
Right.
I think we should chuck this on the table. I'll give you some advice. The only way to see what we're working with is to start stacking parts. Let's get everything on the table and see where we're going. Right now, it looks a little bit too much like that and a little bit too much like that. You're looking for speed, right? And that's the line. That thing's got to be about a foot longer, easy. I know this is your bike. Are you really sentimental about this chassis, the frame of it, or? And as usual, it always comes down to that one big question, you know, how attached are you to what you got? Because if you're really attached, you might be in the wrong place.
What I like about this frame is a bit of the profile in the line. But I mean, as you can see, yeah, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, well, it's just like every old car, right? It's got a classic line. We like it. We just want it leaner, faster, meaner, more of a hot rod. What I'm looking at is something that just isn't gonna work for Ryan's needs. But on the flip side, I see something that looks exactly like what I want for my next project. You're gonna spin yourself in circles, I think, trying to modify this. I mean, you're not a kid anymore. You're taller, you're wiser, you're a little more daring. You're gonna need more of a motorcycle style thing. I'm working on a bicycle project, not motorized or anything, but I've got this crazy idea and it needs kind of a classic looking frame. You know, instead of trying to twist this into your vision, I'll build you a whole new frame if you give me that for my project. Feeling a little like, you know, the Fabrication godfather. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
There's probably not a better deal than that, so I'm gonna take it, man.
Yeah, take it while it's hot. The bottom line here is In full custom, one size does not fit all. And Ryan is a tall, thin guy, and if he's sitting on a generic beach cruiser like you see, he looks quite a bit oversized. It's the classic monkey riding a football thing, exactly. It means you tailor it to his chassis. You're sitting right on the valve stem, so it's like a foot stretch in the frame.
Yeah.
The bike is actually this long.
Oh man.
We're gonna need something a bit stretched out.
That's, so now we're talking a motorcycle.
Exactly.
Right? It's no longer a bicycle.
You know, I got a cool idea for the forks and the rear dropouts already. Looks like we have two parallel projects, you know, kind of a yin and yang in styling. One with sort of a traditional classic look. Mine is gonna be that freak show that we've all come to know and love. We got the patient up on the operating table, and it's time for some two-wheeled envisioning. Here we are. You can see I've got this frame welded to the table, and now the challenge begins. Let's figure out how to get this engine and that gas tank into a frame that's longer, lower, leaner, meaner, a little more mature. These are the challenges, the aesthetic challenges of custom motorcycle building. Everything's exposed. You know, some bikes will have bodywork on them, but not this one. This is stripped down. So yeah, the frame is your canvas. The thing I love most about this project is that there's no reason for it except for fun. I'm the go-to guy because luckily I have a background of clients who ask for all that crazy stuff. You know, none of this really makes sense. Building a custom frame could go in a million different directions. You know, I'm really taking cues from what Ryan's been saying, the parts he has, and mostly the photo. You know, he's talking about this old school, hand-built, backyard kind of thing. What I'm gonna do is keep the stock geometry of this frame. In other words, the headset rake will be identical. The seat tube angle will be identical. We're just gonna lengthen it so that it looks a little more spread out. By mounting this engine first and being able to move it around in comparison to the stock frame, it really helps you visualize it. One thing that holds weight with this whole design is, you know, the earliest motorcycles were basically bicycles that they started to motorize. The guy was like, I'm sick of pedaling. We need a better idea. Thus, the story began. Typical bicycle has one tube on the bottom. I'm gonna do it motorcycle style. I'm gonna split them like that, right out to the back tire. The whole thing is I want it to look very generic, like you would see one of those motorcycles, you know, without the fancy oval tubes or all the crazy bends. I want it to look very race bike. That'll work for me. The whole issue here is how does it work with the back rim? We're trying to bring a certain flavor or style into a project. You know, it's important to have all the right parts. So Ryan's brought in all the key components. The next step is to fit up this rear rim and see exactly how this frame is going to take place. The whole purpose of this is to line things up and keep it fixed in place while I'm welding. I'm making a jig for everything. I'm getting jiggy with this. Like butter. That's gonna go right down the center line. That's the whole reason for making this jig modular. I could take that tire and move it forward, backwards, side to side, whatever looks right. Did you see me put that tank in before? I didn't. Look, that fits perfectly. Now I'm starting to feel it. I'm putting a lot of weight on the visual aspect of this frame, and you know, looking at the rear angle on the tank, it made me think that that could possibly just transition straight down into where the rear tire is. I like it a lot. No project is complete without a little envisioning. Everything's coming into place. I'm gonna add these two pieces of angle iron simply as a structural element while I'm welding everything up. Just like these down supports to the table, I mean, it's all gonna get taken away, so you basically release the frame from the jig after you're done welding. Setting this lower tube for the frame in place is primarily visual. I know that the engine has a certain shape at the bottom of it, so I really want it to feel kind of like it has like a belly hanging down. I really like the way that this is starting off. The engine was way too big for the other frame, but it's gonna work in here, definitely. I like the wheelbase. I love the way the tank sits in there. My whole plan was doing 2 at once, so I want to get my bike in the works to at least this stage. It's going to be like dueling bicycles. Working on this motorized bicycle project got me thinking about my bicycle. I'm going pedal power, but in a pretty radical fashion. I like the wild stuff, and working on a conservative project only fuels my desire for the crazy. A guy needs his things, and I'm starting to get quite the collection of things. This is part of the tire collection. My goal has always been to have a ton of materials on hand. Things come and things go. I got a lot of stuff here. It frees me up to strike when inspiration's in the air. So right here are 2 of my favorite things in this pile. Might not look like much, but when you open them up, look at that. Now that's a tire. These are dirt track race car tires. Ryan's going skinny and low and conservative. I'm gonna be like the clown on the bike path. Fortunately, I got a pair of them. I know what you're thinking. Those don't look like bicycle tires. Just wait 1 second, my friends. The truth will set you free. Every project needs a little bit of Volkswagen. That's where this dune buggy comes in. These things are gonna be perfect. There it is, full custom bicycle. I think we have everything we need for a perfect starting point. 2 tires, 2 rims, 1 bicycle frame. Here we go. You've heard this whole story about the middle-aged man and the spare tire? Yeah, this is sort of like that, but... Ooh, look at that. Ooh, wasn't expecting that one. Man, ladies. Hey, you want entertainment, you got it, right? That was part of my time being a rodeo clown. You know, everybody loves when your pants come down, you're wearing polka dot underwear, etc. There you go. It's all a rehearsal for my next career. They're not that far off from the diameter of the bike tires. That's what I was thinking. So let's put some air in these things and see how they match up. I went to the Peterson Museum with Gene Winfield and I saw this motorcycle from the Dark Knight movie and it had giant tires like this and it got me thinking, I'm gonna build a bicycle like this. I promise you, this is too cool.
It's crazy and I love it.
True story, that Batman Dark Knight motorcycle was really the inspiration for this. Looking at that in the museum, I could clearly see that this was a functioning prop. You know, when I saw that thing rolling, it was like, that looks impossible. I need to figure that out. Why can't I have one of those? But pedal powered, slightly less crime fighting. See, that's the thing when you know you're a car guy, right? I can never really double dribble or do basketball tricks, but you put a couple car tires in my hand, I'm a natural. So, you get the point. With Ryan's project, I was challenged by the engine and the gas tank fitting on that frame. And now with this one, I'm challenged by those 2 tires fitting on this frame. Let's take this thing off the table and take it apart. This is a no hesitation approach. I know exactly what I need from this bike frame. Getting it all out of the way. Nobody get nervous. There's a madness to my method. Look at that, it's a perfect fit. I could see it already. All I have to do is connect the dots. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Looking at this project, I'm seeing all stars. You know, the practical side of me does see a few potential issues. It looks cool. All I have to do is figure out the rest. Ryan's frame's coming together, and I'm excited to see what he thinks.
Ian.
Hey, hey.
Whoa, check this out.
Got
dude.
you a frame, man.
Yes.
Not quite a bicycle, and it's not quite a motorcycle. It's somewhere in between.
Oh man, this is beautiful. Look at this thing.
The way you described it to me was like a guy would have made it just on a workbench, maybe with a torch and a bunch of lengths of tubing, right?
That's exactly right. It's got that vintage look and that hand-built look. Obviously, you built it by hand.
Right here.
I mean, it shows. Look, this thing is clean, man.
I felt like a single top rail really showed off the tank instead of hiding it.
That's a perfect fit.
You know, I want it to really be prominent, like the, the jewel on the ring or something. You know, I did take a little artistic license, you know, like these tubes are parallel. This is made to fit the bottom of the engine shape. And it just kind of like has a belly and then whoosh, right out.
From afar, it's got that sweet board tractor style profile where it's flat, but then you've given it sort of a stance that looks like it's about to cut through the wind and just jam down the track.
I gotta say, Ryan is very pleased with what he's looking at, and that's a relief for two reasons. Once, because I want to see him get what he wants, and most importantly, you know, I cut apart his bike frame, so there's really no going back on that one. That's pretty much what's happening with your frame at the moment.
Wow, you really cut that thing up.
Clearly, Ryan has no idea of the transformation awaiting him with his old frame. Well, wait till you see what I'm doing with this. It's gonna change your whole mind about bicycles. Something
Nice.
weird's going on. You know, Ryan's a bit of a bicycle aficionado, and I can't wait to see what he thinks of my take on it. For the front forks on this bike, I'm thinking we could try a little combination, you know, a little old and a little new. Ryan's got these new front forks that are substantially stronger, but I think the style could be improved by using the Springer element of the old fork set and somehow mating them together.
That's the look, man. It's a little bit of the old, the vintage with the new. I even like a lot of the black with the chrome kind of mixed together.
Yeah, that gave the whole front of the bike a ton of character. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 tubes just in the steering components.
Right.
It's definitely not a bicycle anymore. I gotta say, we got off pretty easy this time with the new and old mix and match. The main modification for these front forks is to make a custom bracket that will keep the Springer part of the fork in line with the triple trees. But I'll deal with that later. For now, I'm calling this a win. My goal today is to get a full visual mock-up. You know, the last two things to set in place are the handlebars and the seat. You know, Ryan's coming off as pretty passionate about this project. He's got all the right parts. I mean, he's put considerable effort into getting all this stuff together. I'm just kind of wondering, like, what's this all about? So, I mean, this is a really interesting project. I'm just not really sure where you're going with this. Is there a board track around, or what's the deal?
My dad's kind of really into these old school board track racers as well. And he's the one who bought me that original frame back when I was a starving college student in Boston. But without a license or registration, and for very cheap, you could build these sort of motorized bikes. So he sent me a kit with the engine, the bike frame, the whole deal, and I was able to commute back and forth to work,
Cool.
you know, for about 6 months until I could save up enough money to get a car.
He said, hey, son, here's a really dangerous toy. While you're 3,000 miles from home, have fun.
Right.
I like that guy. I like his style. All jokes aside, you know, I like a project with a sentimental twist. So the news of Ryan and his dad kind of coming together on this project is a pretty cool thing.
We own a, you know, family roofing yard and a roofing supply shop.
Right.
I was thinking it would be rad to put their logo on the gas tank. Almost like I imagine back in the day on the vintage board track racing days, like some of those guys showed up and they had
Sponsored
like
by.
Joe's Hardware, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Because obviously with board track, you know, you had your manufacturers representing the bikes. But again, there was also Joe Schmo going to the hardware store for nuts and bolts.
Right.
And he said, hey, why don't we paint the gas tank with your logo and I'll show it off to the neighborhood while I come in third place behind Harley and Indian.
Right, exactly.
And Ryan describing kind of having a vintage logo on the tank, I think it fits it perfectly. I mean, that's what you'd have on a motorcycle, especially a race bike. I don't always sacrifice my tools for the job, but I noticed these pins in the tubing bender, they fit the seat exactly.
Oh,
Here.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
nice.
And then this can mount on a plate anywhere from here to back here. Putting in this last piece of the seat post bracket, the process is exactly how I went through the entire frame. When you see these sheet metal plates fastened to the tube, it really is just a gusset. It reinforces everything, makes it a lot stronger. All of my calculations and considerations have led up to this. Hop on there, see what it do. Let's see how he fits. It looks like it fits you, man. I mean,
It feels
totally.
good. Yeah. I mean, the added length to this thing. And, oh, yeah, that's comfortable right there.
Nice. Get out of the way, let me ride. If I had to pick one though, it's definitely that. It's definitely that.
I mean, that doesn't look cramped at all. You look comfortable. You could probably ride a couple miles like that.
Ryan's bike is looking good, and the circus is about to come to town. My bike concept needs to catch up. There's definitely enthusiasm in the air. Seems like a good stage in the project to bring in a little shop inspection, you know, a little QC on this pretty crazy concept. Got 2 projects going on at the same time. 2 projects, 2 dogs, 2 tires. I know how these inspectors roll, and they are all business. So before we even get started, it's important to set up the safety protocol first. I want your glasses on for this. Now, let's check this out. Hey! Perhaps the young apprentice has a different perspective on things than the head honcho, you know, the senior shop inspector. You're supposed to bring me the paper, you're supposed to bring me my safety glasses. What kind of treatment is this? The new generation's always trying to push the limits, you know, do their own things, you know, be different, unique, stand out. Mock authority, dare I say. The senior inspector is clearly dissatisfied with the treatment of the safety equipment. You can see that. They're definitely shatterproof. That's a good thing. Hey! Well, that didn't go as planned. Ryan's bike is making some good progress. I figure it's time to move over to my project. A fresh new view of things. First challenge is to set up the front tire to the headset and the frame. Luckily, I've got a plan. And the whole thing with this is I want it as compact as possible. The forks will determine how it steers and how high up off the ground it's gonna be. I've done a little prep work on the rims, and I think that'll really help with my concept. What you have here is a brake drum from a little truck. I started drilling it out because I want it ultra light. That goes right back into place. And that welds on like that. You'll look at motorcycles sometimes, and the swing arm for the rear will be only on one side. So you'll see like this tire that appears to not be connected to the vehicle, which I thought was really cool. And that's the challenge with all of my projects, is trying out the unknown, right? And some folks may be wondering what I'm doing this for. I'm wondering also. That's as if the bicycle is rolling. No flex, no trouble, no nothing. So far, so good. You know, this will be the same procedure as Ryan's bike in that I'll attach it to the table and then commence welding. Part of the concept here is the compact design. It's gonna add up to some issues. I wanna make sure there's plenty of room to pedal when I'm cruising this thing, so I always like to take the straightforward approach. In this case, I'm gonna go for the old shoe test. So that is about it right there. Tried and true method. I gave up the steel toe business. I used them all on my cars, so now I'm down to these. That's the great thing about building something for myself. There are no other parameters. It only needs to fit my feet. I've driven weirder things. I'm feeling like I'm on the right track. Now, onto the back wheel. I added a tube to the rear of the frame, so now the wheelbase is fully customizable. This pleases me. Absolute nonsense. With the old soft shoe test, you could see that that's too close. I think if we just pull it back till the shoe falls off. It's a pretty long bicycle, eh? It's quite a bit longer than I was hoping for, but unfortunately, those are the parameters of the frame. Soft shoe technique has proved it. Now it's on to the welding it up final. The design of this frame is built with strength in mind. You can see it's not the most glamorous looking thing, but it is super strong. It's looking ridiculous enough to me. Let's put it on the ground and see what happens. You just get off it and there it is. It's just waiting for you. It's like a trusty steed. I can't take it. That thing is too cool. I gotta ride it now. It needs definitely a seat and some bigger bars. And then, you know, if this thing's working, 3-ring circus is open for business. totally works. I gotta say, this concept is a go. It totally rolls with a person on board. Now we're talking, look at that. That's all you needed. With this being said, if I get this thing to pedal, we are in business. I got a few last fabrication things to set up on Ryan's bike, and then it's down the road on 2 wheels. Every aspect of this bike is coming together, except for that issue with the Springer fork alignment. I got the engine in place, but the entire driveline for this motor and pedal assembly came in a kit, so Ryan's gonna handle the assembly. Right now, I just wanna make this thing a roller. This bracket's causing these two to come together like a triangle. I want them out here. The task with modifying this bracket is to stretch it out, make it a little bit taller, and primarily make it look like it was built back in the day. So put a little clamp on it. The whole thing with building parts like this, from the frame to all the other things, is setting up jigs. That way when you weld it, it's held in place. That's a very simple idea. What's not so simple is making sure it maintains the exact same placement as before. So that's the idea with the layout and the clamping. Just depends what kind of mood you're in, you know? Sometimes you'll just wing it, sometimes you'll jig it. My plan here is to just use the stock, leave it oversized, make sure it's super strong, trim it back later. So this spine's gonna go on here to stop it from flexing. It's kind of cool, got like a little Art Deco feel to it, something like a track bike would have. All right, let's clamp this and chop it up. That is some hot metal. I gotta get this thing cooled down pronto. That's one of the perks of the Desert Ranch property. You got your own cooling pond for those metal parts. Perfect. Shop inspector approved. At times it seems the shop inspectors know all my tricks, but I always keep a few on the back burner, you know? The element of surprise is a big factor around here. Perfect. Now you can see it's just a big fabricated mess. Now I'm just gonna trim off all the excess fat and make it look pretty. In trimming this bracket back and finishing it, I'm trying to just kind of bring the element of the frame into these other fabricated parts, so kind of make it look like everything was always that way. So there you have one full custom extended Springer fork thinger. Let's put it together and see if it's gonna work. And that goes on here, and that goes on there, like it's meant to be. I'm really starting to enjoy these bike projects. That's gonna work for me. You know, it's a way easier build than like a full custom car project. You know what I just realized? There's no top triple clamp. Look, there's supposed to be something up there holding the whole thing together. Just when you think you're too cool for school, you muck it all up. You know, Ian, stick to those balloon tire bikes. This Springer thing is way out of your league. So with the front end assembled, it's time to cut out the rear tire jig and get it on the ground. This is high tech. Look at that. Perfect. Ta-da. I know this looks like a simple jig that's just been holding the back tire in place while I build around it, but like a good magic trick, I've been diverting your attention. See, that's what you weren't expecting. The jig became the dropout for the rear tire. Drop her down. This thing rolls and steers, look at that. Seeing the chassis on the ground, everything looks good. You don't really feel the same way when it's sitting up on the table, so putting it on the ground, rolling it around, checking out the motion, pretty darn cool. I call this a roller and a steerer. Oh yeah, I think we're getting somewhere now. Ryan has his own mechanical skills and he's gonna take care of everything after I finish the fabrication. So I've got one more trick up my sleeve, but first I wanna get back to the balloon tire bicycle challenge. I'm back at it on my own project, and the chief inspector has some work to do on his own after that last outburst from his assistant. So these two are back in the shack because one of them needs a little schooling. It's not the big one, it's the smaller one. Sit. Lil, sit. The shop inspector is a critical role around here, you know, it's not something that should be taken lightly. Now, you gotta explain to the young blood exactly what goes on in the shop. But there's a certain etiquette you're gonna have to run her through. You have to show her the ropes. How do you get in here? She seems to be a little distracted. She's not really like with it, like Mr. Mechanico here seems to be. Her tag pretty much sums up her mission statement. Even though Lil is out to lunch, the head honcho is always on duty and ready to inspect. This is in a really loose state right now. It's pure concept, you know. I proved that it could roll, but this chain drive, you know, some people might not be that technically minded. Wouldn't you say? Technically minded? Typical scenario, you know, the world is full of naysayers. Luckily, I have a plan. You got your pedals up front, your tire out back, but you can see there's no way to make that happen. So I got a shaft. I got sprocket on one side, sprocket on the other. Pedaling chain goes on one side. Power's transferred through this shaft to the other sprocket. It's about a 12-inch offset. Digging through my pile of stuff, I've found some bearings that will help create this offset drive chain that will make this thing pedal. Right now, I'm just at the mock-up stage. You know, this is just to see how things are gonna line up and what it's gonna take to make these chains connect. So by having this plate here and just tack weld it, I'll be able to kind of bend it front to back, and then the adjustment will give it like a, you know, a pitch. I mean, just looking down the barrel, oh man, now he's starting to feel it. Do you understand the concept now? It's called a jack shaft. Chain offset. It's a bicycle, man. We've done far more exotic projects than this. This is a good sign. The front chain worked out perfectly. You know, the links lined up on the sprocket. Hopefully the back one works out the same. Just gonna yank this chain. Are you yanking my chain? Yes, I am. Let's roll the bike around and see what happens. The front and rear sprockets seem to be in alignment. Doesn't seem to be any derailing issues. The chain is very tight, but as long as everything's lined up, I'm gonna run it. If my calculations are correct, this thing is a direct drive from the pedal to the tire. This is what I was hoping to see, you know, my brain is spinning. What's gonna go wrong? I don't know. Nothing seems to be going wrong. Roussel's balloon tire bicycle mecca. Balloon tire bikes in every color, as long as you like black. See, this is where the master knows when to pull back. Someone with not quite as much experience would probably get on that thing, stomp on the pedal, and bend it all. I know better. Needs a lot more reinforcement. I got one more idea for Ryan's bike, and then both of these bicycles are ready for showtime. There's no proof like the test ride. Came over to my friend Scratch's shop. I wanted to bring him on for one last detail on Ryan's bike. Hey.
Hey man, what's up?
What's up? It's paint work, man. I'm handing it off. You saw the pictures of the bike, and that's a really nice tank. It just needs some paint on it. The whole idea is vintage board track racer. He wants it to be like it's sponsored by H&R Roofing and look, you know, period correct.
I saw the pics that you sent me of the bike. Do you have any artistic ideas or anything?
I don't have artistic ideas ever, so
Right, okay.
that's a start.
And that's a lie. Have you seen Space Junkie? That's an artistic idea.
I'm always up for letting people do their own thing when it's in the parameters of the same style. I've known Scratch for a long time, and he's got the flavor, so I'm leaving it all up to him. That paint work is all you. Just let me know whenever it's done. I'm sure you got this.
Cool, I'll see you later. Instead of going back and forth on the tank, I'll just do a couple of rough sketches here. It's a very skeleton-like track bike. The main thing on it is going to be the tank. So I kind of want it to have that old style to it, and I want it to have pop. I like the idea of it being a sponsor from like an earlier time, like a sign painter would have back in the day. But I think I'm gonna make these all capital letters. My favorite thing about working with Ian is that he trusts me and he gets it. You know, we're both artists. Pretty impressed that he was doing a traditional board tracker. I like that style. And then to be a part of it, that's really cool. When I moved to LA, I was kind of looking for another job. And I ended up going to Ian's shop, and he's like, oh, well, can you metal finish? Like showing me this truck outside, the 65 Chevy. And I was like, yeah, I can do that, it's not a problem. He's like, well, what do you think about working on this Volkswagen over here? I go, that's never gonna happen. I don't work on foreign cars, I've never had a foreign car, I'm not gonna start. He's like, oh, all right. I go, well, I guess that's that. And he's like, nice meeting you. And that was it, man. It was pretty funny. And then I ended up having a shop down the street from him, and you know, we've just been kind of friends ever since. I'm not happy with this. It's too thin. It's not consistent enough. If you didn't know that you did something wrong, then you wouldn't make any mistakes, right? The last couple of years, I've been working with Bell helmets. You know, it's a huge opportunity, and you get to meet a lot of people, go to shows and travel and paint helmets all day long. I'm lucky to be able to do that. So we changed it up. We did the cursive. I'm feeling a little bit happier about this. It has good flow and it has like these little licks to it that are cool and fun. It needs to have that appeal so you're drawn to it. And I think we're there. Just have to do the other side, and we can ship this back to Ian and get it on the bike and get the customer all stoked out. And I'm still a stickler of not working on foreign cars. Still.
We are out in the Wild West, the top secret testing grounds to see exactly what this thing's got. It's definitely got the style. The pedaling is pretty simple. You can see it's geared way down. It's not a high-speed machine. It's just something to putt around and enjoy the desert. The things that I really enjoy most is not so much performance, but style. This thing's kind of a gimmick. Good seating, good handlebar position. I call this one a win. I don't know if Ryan's bike could do this. Full custom reverse motion. Perfect. You roll up and everybody looks at that like, what the heck are you riding? No kickstand needed. You know, all in all, this thing is a, hey, look at me. It's kind of like those show cars I make, right? Does it work? Yes. Is it practical? Probably not. Is it fun? Yes, that's the key. Yeah, this thing is in the prototype phase. You know, I just sprayed it black so it looks clean, put a bunch of gussets in around the rear end just to keep this big tire stable. My whole theory was, can I put these giant tires on a bicycle and make it function? And the proof's in the pudding, it works. I gotta say, 30 miles on this machine out in the open wilderness, it's just a warm-up. I'm ready to go 30 more. I told Ryan to meet me out here. He said his bike's ready, and I'm really excited to check out what's been done to it.
What's up, Ian?
Hey, you found the secret location.
Look at that thing.
Oh,
That's
yeah, look at
out of
that thing,
control,
too.
man. Pulling up right away, I noticed this monster truck wheeled, like, bat bike that he's got going on. I mean, this thing's awesome. It's what I imagine Bruce Wayne would roll up to the beach party in.
The big challenge was getting the chain drive around that tire, and it worked out fine. I don't know what Ryan was expecting, but he seemed kind of like pie-eyed, right? His eyes were very wide. He was trying to figure out what the heck this thing was.
That old frame went to good use. You're gonna be the envy of every cyclist on the road.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a departure from what you had going on, but that is what it is. That's its forever home. What the heck's going on with this? You said you got it running.
Oh yeah, check it out.
Walking up on Ryan's bike, I gotta say it's awesome. A vintage board track racer. It's got the look for sure. What did you do to the frame? That looks different. It's brightened up or something.
Yeah, just gave it a little bit of a steel brush and then a clear coat of Eastwood matte.
Oh, the tank looks good too. This describes perfectly why I handed the tank to Scratch and walked away, because he knows what to do. It's got that perfect vintage flavor. I knew bringing it to him was a sure thing because he's just got that style, right? That looks old-fashioned.
I love the color schematic he did on it too. It just blends into the rest of the bike perfectly.
I think we nailed it. Sure, it's got modern rims, modern engine, but it's definitely got the flavor. Got the disc brake on there. Those grips are cool too.
A lot of what I did was just bells and whistles. I did rebuild the motor a little bit. I mean, aside from just jewelry, I would say, it's really all Ian and what he did with his frame, and that's really what makes the bike.
It's nothing I would have thought of building, but here we are. Let's ride it. It works. Ryan seems really charged up. Today's the test drive day.
Scratch hooked it up with a brand new Bell helmet.
Nice. Nothing to it but to do it. We're off to the races. I don't want to say you're up against an unfair opponent, but I'm going to race you to the pavement, and then it's all you after that. I know what I'm up against, so I'm giving myself a little lead. I get a 10-bike lead. By the time that thing is started, I should be in position. It's the classic tortoise and the hare scenario. I'm going to leave a little early and get there right on time. I tell you, I could get used to this. Come on, let's go. Damn kids. But he doesn't have the style like I do. That's all I could say. The proportion and the rider on the bike meant everything to me. So Ryan up on the table translated perfectly to that stretched frame I was describing. You know, collaboration is a very delicate issue. Working with Ryan and Scratch, all the cards came together just right on this project. Looks good, sounds good, it's fast, it's not missing a beat.
You gotta try this thing.
I'm a heavy dude, and that thing just moved right down the lane. You know, in soft sand, whatever, it gets you through. This thing rides really good, man. I mean, just from a bunch of tube steel to this, it's quite the transformation. You gotta check out this thing.
I gotta jump on this. Come on. I can't say no to that. This thing looks like a party on wheels.
It's got a little weight to it. There he goes. There's no brakes. That's the thing. I had a little practice on this, I'm not denying that, but to see somebody green get right on it and try to ride the thing.
Yes!
Now you got it.
Success!
It's the full cartoon experience. Woo! Seeing these guys parked next to each other, you can see mine is completely ridiculous and his is super cool. That was the mission. Tale of two cycles. Oh, check this out. We got the good shadow effect. High five up.
Oh, yeah. Whoosh. I think my takeaway from this whole project is you really can't go wrong working with Ian. If Ian tells you he's gonna build you something, do it. Thank you so much, brother.
Oh yeah, for
Appreciate
sure.
it.
Right on. We both get what we needed. I needed a balloon tire beach cruiser, and you needed a board track racer.
Things we definitely needed.
That's the thing, I'm a few miles away from home. This bike's just getting broken in, so I'm gonna have a nice, relaxing cruise into the sunset to think about all the possibilities that the future can hold. It's gonna be a long, slow ride home.
So Ian took the long way home, and I cruised this thing over to H&R Roofing Supply. I wanted to show it to my dad and see what he thinks. I talked to him a little bit about it on the phone, but I don't think he was expecting what this thing turned out to be.
Awesome. It's a far cry from your one in Boston. I hope you're wearing that helmet when you're riding it.
That's one thing with every client is I like to exceed their expectations. So seeing his eyes light up when he sees the thing and now he's out there riding it, having a great time, that's what it's all about.